magnificent mansions built by the Germans in the 1820s and 1830s. Those 2 decades, the German community dominated this city. Now it's all part of La Villita. That means little village in Spanish. There's a little over 2.5 square blocks. What was the first neighborhood in San Antonio. Some housing here date back to the 1700s, built by the Spaniards. Like that one, right there at the top of the steps to the left. This one dates back to 1711. This is actually the house where Santa Anna stayed in during the Battle of the Alamo. And those are not only steps. We use them as bleachers, sitting an audience of 800 to enjoy the performance right there on the stage to the right. And we're passing right through the Arneson River Theater, named after Edward P. Arneson, who was the chief engineer of the Riverwalk. That was his own personal project too. Now, some of you might recognize that theater. Any of you familiar with the movie Miss Congeniality with Sandra Bullock? They filmed part of the movie out here. Let me tell you guys, I remember that like yesterday. I've been fortunate enough to have been working here that long. I was passing by there when they were getting everything set up. There she was, Sandra Bullock, right there on the stage. We locked eyes for 30 seconds. Well, I gotta show you this cool statue on the right. There's a statue of a cowboy on top of his horse, along with a few longhornies driving up the riverbank. It was dedicated to the first cattle drive that took place from San Antonio to New Orleans. Right behind them, you guys see that limestone building? Opened up in 1930. Became the first public library in our city. Now, we call it the Briscoe Western Art Museum. You guys like cowboy stuff? Don't miss out. Go in there. They got a lot of cowboy memorabilia. One of my favorite pieces in there is an original Wells Fargo stagecoach from the 1880s, fully restored. And take a look at this next bridge we're about to pass underneath. The Presa Street was one of the very first bridges that crossed the San Antonio River. Been around since 1890. We named it Presa because it means dam in Spanish. That way it reminds us there used to be a dam right here in place of the bridge. And when we had the dam, it caused a little island to form. You'll see what I'm talking about coming up on the right. There's the small island with the iron ornamental table. It's very special to the city. That was dedicated to Father Damien Massenet. He's the one who had the honor of naming the river back in June 13, 1691. Now known as Marriage Island. Couples from all over the world come down here just to get married right there on that island. Well, before we go underneath Navarro Street, you guys keep your eye to the right there behind the tree along the stone wall. You'll notice a mural that explains how early settlers used this section of the river to cross back and forth with their horses and carriages before we had any bridges out here. Back then, you would have found Teddy Roosevelt and the Rough Riders hanging around here. Matter of fact, he recruited the first Rough Riders right there across the street from the Alamo at the Menger Bar. That original bar is still there right now. In case any of you want to go in there and pay them a visit, you'll notice the original bar still there. Over here on the right, that's the West End Hotel. Opened up in November of 1999. Used to be a 3-story parking garage. Talk about an upgrade. Doesn't that look better than a parking garage? If you guys are around the area later on, go in there. They like to show off a 300-year-old chandelier. Originated in Spain. It's fully restored right inside their lobby, guys. I gotta show you my favorites. Look up there to the left. My favorite building, the Tower Life. See the gargoyles? There's 16 gargoyles that go around the top of the building. The original owners, Mr. Smith and Mr. Young.